Barkhamsted is a very special town, and I think a lot of it has to do with the forest.
A lot of people really just like hiking in the woods here, reconnecting with nature.
It has everything, amazing wildlife, beautiful river.
Well, you know, you don't have to go far just to see how pretty the area is, how beautiful it is. Drive by the river and there's somebody out there fly fishing with just a picture perfect view. And it just goes on around every corner in the whole town.
When I think about the Farmington River, I think about the quiet solitude of it. Yeah, it's just a very peaceful place and a beautiful place. I guess I think of it as a town treasure.
You're out in the middle of the stream and it's nothing but you, the fishing pole, the stream running by, and if you catch a fish, great. If you don't, who cares? Just being out in the stream by yourself, listening to the water, watching the water, seeing the scenery, seeing what's growing on the side of the stream.
The fishermen love that river. It's a great trout river.
We're really blessed to have so much state forest in the area. It's not just Peoples and American Legion. Enders State Forest is on the other side of this. The Tungus Forest is Barkhamsted, Heartland area. And we have about 40,000 acres of watershed property that runs right up through the center of town. And so that contiguous forest land is a real draw for this area. You can walk for miles sometimes in the woods and not see anybody.
Half of town is protected land, and that's huge when you think about the goal of many towns in Connecticut is to preserve 10% of their open space.
Peoples Forest is about 3,000 acres. It has a long history of forest management going back to the 1920s. It's not the biggest state forest, but it is important because it protects the watershed of the Farmington River. Everything starts with the forest. The fish, the wildlife, the clean water. The forest protects the soil from washing into the river. It acts as a giant sponge. It collects the water and then releases it slowly to the river. In Connecticut, we have state forests and we have state parks. And state forests were acquired for the growth and harvest of wood on a sustainable basis instead of outsourcing it to other places. We can have recreational state forests. It can be compatible. But what gets lost is that it's not a state park, it's a state forest whose primary purpose was and is to grow wood on a sustainable basis. The wood around here is primarily hardwoods, which would be used for flooring, furniture, cabinetry, but we also grow and harvest pine and hemlock. Firewood is a big product that we sell. We can grow and produce firewood in our own backyard that reduces our dependence on oil and natural gas, which have a lot more severe environmental impacts. We have a local maple syrup producer that we lease the taps to every year.
42 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup here in Barkhamsted. The average, they says 40 to 1, but it's a little bit more here for some reason. And if you use soft maple, it takes 80 gallons to 1 gallon of syrup. It's hot.
Another product we sell is mountain laurel boughs, believe it or not. We also grow and harvest witch hazel. Not a lot of people realize Connecticut is one of the primary producers of witch hazel in the country.
Historically, there were secondary purposes of state forests that included recreation, like hunting and hiking, but those were secondary to the production of forest products. Over time, that started to change.
We're hosting people to come here every day, 365 days a year. In the summer, we have people picnicking. We have people canoeing down the river, tubing, kayaking. A lot of fly fishermen use the Farmington River. In the wintertime, things like snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling.
Peoples Forest has a lot to offer. The Nature Museum is a really neat museum. It was built in 1934 approximately by the Civil and Conservation Corps. It's approximately 12 miles of hiking trails, 5 major trails, 3 sub-trails. We have the Blue Blaze Trail System, which is part of the Connecticut Forest and Park Association. Sometimes people walk on the trail, they walk in the springtime, say, well, I've been on that trail, I don't need to see it again. But if you come back at different times of the year, the trail looks totally different. We also have the lower elevations along the Farmington River, all the way up to some beautiful overlooks. As you get further up, we have two large glacial boulders.
Barkhamsted and Peoples State Forest provides a valuable ecosystem for its wildlife and a place where they can wander and roam in a natural setting and thrive, we hope, without too much conflict. We have beavers, we have black bears, we have porcupines, which are great to see. Lots of owls. We have the barred owl, which people hear the most. Just to be able to wake up, look out in the morning, hear 30 different songbirds in my backyard because I'm surrounded by state forest. Just saw a bunch of mink the other day. You could just go on and on. We have an incredible population of bald eagles. The first nesting pair of bald eagles in modern times in Connecticut was here in Barkhamsted at the reservoir in 1992. And last year we had over 85 nesting pairs of bald eagles in Connecticut. The woods have come back to Connecticut, and all of these populations are returning and really thriving. So it's just exciting to be a part of that. When the colonists came here, they hunted anything they felt were a threat to them or their livestock. Our native mountain lions and wolves were extirpated. The black bear was gone by 1820. We cut our forests down. Our forests were over 90% forested when the colonists came here. And by 1850, it was down to like almost 25%. But then agriculture moved out west and we industrialized, so a lot of our fields lay fallow. And as those fields grew back into trees and vibrant ecosystems, animals started returning. The black bear population started migrating down into Connecticut again in the early 1980s, and now we have a healthy population of around 1,200 black bears spread throughout the state, but the largest population is here in northwest Connecticut.
This bear was born in 2018. She is the offspring of one of our historic collared females in Peoples State Forest. We're going to get her GPS locations on her collar from a full year's worth of data. We'll look at her overall body condition, den type, and then we'll put her back with her cubs. Little female, male, and what were you? You were a male, right? Yeah, 2 boys and a girl. Okay. Females tend to overlap their ranges with related females, so she may grow up and stay here in Peoples or in the surrounding forests. These 2 males, when they're about 1.5 years old, they'll probably leave Peoples State Forest. Here in Connecticut, when people and wildlife come into conflict, whether it's issues with bears getting at trash or bird feeders, you know, who knows what's going to happen with these 3 bears. I mean, it's great that we have this type of habitat here, not only for bears, for a lot of different wildlife. 9.6. I mean, these cubs, pretty lucky that they're born into a more wild environment. Hopefully it'll stay as wild as they can.
There's a perception that a forest that is left alone is the best thing that can be done for it. The reality of it is there's a big demand for wood. People want to build their houses, they want to write on paper, they want to burn wood in their wood stove.
The world needs wood. The world runs on wood. We should grow what we need where we live. It's called the illusion of preservation. Well, as long as I don't see trees being cut in my backyard, everything's great. But the reason these state forests were acquired was that even 100 years ago, people realized that Connecticut was outsourcing its needs for wood to other places, which is irresponsible.
There was actually a forecast in 1900 that we would run out of timber by 1960. Well, the Connecticut Forestry Association had this idea of fundraising from the general public at a grassroots level and using that money to buy land for a state forest. They started calling it the People's Forest Fund. Agnes Bowen was a resident of Barkhamsted. Agnes Bowen invited representatives from the Connecticut Forestry Association to Barkhamsted to sell them on the idea of locating this people's forest in Barkhamsted.
What makes the People's Forest unique is the way it was acquired. School children donated pennies. It was a grassroots effort to buy land, raise funds to have a state forest, and that was kind of unheard of at the time.
So they were able to accumulate those large parcels along the river and some of the uplands along the river, and they had a great celebration.
It was a Saturday in early October. It was a beautiful, sunny, warm day, blue sky. They put on a pageant, like a play.
It was basically the history of the lands. They had Native Americans playing parts within the pageant. These were the Native people's lands.
They had over 3,000 people attend this dedication, so it was very successful.
The location of Peoples is ideal because it's on the shore of the Farmington River.
People's Forest being preserved the way that it has for 100 years now, the water quality is very stable.
We have discovered that if we look at some of the creatures living in the river, some of them are really, really sensitive to pollutants. And some of them are not so much. They'd still rather live in clean water, but they can live in dirtier water with less oxygen. Look at this little guy. And he's a common stonefly. There are other stoneflies that are even more fussy about being in clean water. We talk about whether they're sensitive or tolerant. And this guy's pretty sensitive.
The Farmington River is cold and consistently runs clean, and that's always been a joy. I do own a photograph of my grandfather. He's got a great big smile on his face, and he's fly fishing in the Farmington River.
It's attracted people from not only around the state, but literally around the country.
It's just something about that babbling noise in the background. It's very soothing. You never know what you're going to see. There could be an eagle fly overhead or a great blue heron, otter, beavers, all sorts of wildlife that are in the river enjoying it as well. Some sections of the river, including the section through People's Forest, is year-round catch and release.
The Farmington River, it's on the top 100 trout streams of America. It's definitely Connecticut's best river for fly fishing, fishing in general. The fact that there's wild trout, you know, they're not stocked. The fact that they're fished to all the time, it just makes them very difficult to catch. So if you can catch a Farmington River wild brown trout, you're doing a lot right. The wild trout in general are the most elusive, but the wild males, they're ghosts. you know they're there, but you can't catch them, you can't find them. It's definitely not just about catching the fish. Honestly, I could sit on that rock right there from sunup to sundown and be perfectly content just watching the birds and the bugs and the fish rise. But getting into it and getting the rod bent is a little more fun than just sitting on the rock. I caught the largest wild brown trout ever recorded on this river about 4 years ago. Estimated between 12 and 14 pounds. 29-inch wild male brown trout. It was a huge deal. For me anyway. It took me 3.5 years of hunting him to put him in the net. I threw him back. He lives to fight another day, but I've got pictures for proof.
The Farmington River in 1994 got the Wild and Scenic designation. Almost the entire west branch of the Farmington River is now designated Wild and Scenic. Everyone thinks wild and scenic means it is just wild and scenic, but it isn't. You can get that designation for its recreational value, which was a big factor with the Farmington River. You can get it for its historical value. You can get it for its wildlife.
It preserves a very important asset to the town. The Farmington River, I don't know how you could measure its value to the town.
People continue to play a role in advocating for people's state forests.
Actually, these aren't that bad compared to what last time.
Yeah. Especially in the role of Phelps. The Friends of American Legion and People's State Forest was formed in 2015, has a large membership, is very active, and they advocate for people's forests.
One of the things that was contagious was the enthusiasm for it. There was a bunch of people that some of us knew each other, some of us didn't know each other, but everybody was excited about the fact that we had this gem here and we wanted to enhance it somehow.
If you enjoyed our quick tour, this is the view from the Gothic window. The Robert Ross Trail runs on the other side. And come back and join us at Peoples, and please come.
Quite frankly, we didn't know what we were doing, but the more we got together and talked about what could be done, ideas just began to just flow.
Trail building can be very complicated. It's not just setting a rock in place and saying, okay, that rock is in. You also have to look at the stability of the rock. What is underneath it? Is that a solid foundation, or is that going to change over time?
This is a big one. If our load snaps, then our wire is going to come up. It would be terrible to get hit with. Tension! Slack! Slacking!
That's one of the main trailheads for people going into the forest.
If I lift on this side, would it be easier to twist?
It's literally like stuck.
Should we push it back a little?
Yes, 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 yes. Do that.
We wanted an area that would say, wow, this is a really neat trail, let's explore it.
Actually, is this side the worst side? Hold on. Move it, and I'm gonna, so it doesn't slide back.
We got it.
We got it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People always say the trails are in great order.
Okay, I think that should be a lot better. Guys! Go, Gene, go.
It is going.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be there for the next 200 years, forever, those stones.
Phelps came into existence in 2015. We really wanted to do a big statement type project.
Our first big project was that boardwalk.
I thought it just seemed to me like kind of an insurmountable project to take on.
We send out a notice saying, this is our work party, this is what we're going to do. No skills are needed. Just come and enjoy and have a good time. When we first started, we're out there in the mud, up to our waist, trying to pound in the post by hand. Very difficult to do. We're able to work on top of the ice, drilling the holes in with power auger I use for ice fishing. And then the group came behind and pounded the post in, which made it much easier going out through.
It travels through this large wetland area that otherwise there was no way people could get out and see that ecosystem that was there.
A lot of people really enjoy that boardwalk. At 240 feet, it takes you right from like a hemlock forest and then getting you right out into almost open water. Anytime you go up there, you'll find people walking out there to enjoy it.
It turned out to be really a great effort with a lot of people, and it was a lot of fun doing it.
I think it legitimized us. This was a real bona fide project that people could say, wow. I don't know if we had a spike in membership after that, but we certainly got momentum. We had more people wanting to be involved. The enthusiasm was just tremendous.
We didn't stop with the wetlands. We decided, wouldn't it be fun to build another boardwalk that will go right through the middle of the swamp?
The second boardwalk we built turned into a big project where we had to go through about 840 feet of red maple swamp. So it was all wetlands. We had to design a system that would support ourselves in the construction of it.
Kind of felt a little bit like Lewis and Clark. We had no idea what we're stepping into.
We knew where we started and we knew where we were going to, but we didn't really know exactly how we were going to get there.
And off we went into the swamp. The final result was an incredible 840-foot boardwalk with an observation platform. You feel like you're in a totally different world.
We were delighted the way it came out. It meandered through that wet area that would be totally inaccessible without it. When you get out there, it's just, you're like in the middle of nowhere. It's just beautiful, quiet and peaceful.
The boardwalk became such a great project, camaraderie, friendships, got to know each other so well, and it was just such a wonderful project.
There are 3 state-designated archaeological preserves in Peoples Forest. The Barkhamsted Lighthouse site is one of them. This is a mixed race village that was occupied before the Civil War.
We are not the first to walk these woods. We're not the first people here. History has not been erased. You just have to look carefully. You see remnants of it all over the place.
The Walt Landgraf soapstone quarry and rock shelter is a second archaeological preserve. There's a large piece of soapstone that still has remnants of unharvested soapstone bowls that the Native Americans were working on and left for some reason. The third one is a charcoal mound. That was designated as an archaeological preserve because it's a little bit unusual to have the charcoal still remaining.
Here at People's Forest, they've done some excellent forestry.
A diverse forest is a resilient forest. A diverse forest is a healthy forest.
I just can't believe how bad, beech leaf disease is just exploding.
In 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, look at that beech over there. Well, I was looking at the bigger one there. I mean, that's lost 90% of its foliage. You see the one in the corner?
Not good. Austin Hawes was one of the first foresters in Connecticut. He was a pioneer. He created these blue ribbon plots in 1926 to demonstrate how if you took care of your forest and managed it well, you can have beautiful, productive forests over the long term. The blue ribbon plots were supposed to demonstrate the best in show, the best of forestry. In the 1920s and 1930s, Connecticut's forests were just recovering from repeated clear cutting for charcoal. There were a lot of forest fires, so the forests were in pretty rough shape. It takes a long time to grow a tree, it takes a long time to grow a forest, but on state land, which is going to be there forever, you can invest time and money in planting trees, in pruning pines so they have a nice straight stem. You won't see the results maybe for 60 years. Some of these pines, when you look up, you see a lot of blue sky. You shouldn't see that much blue sky when you look into the crown of these pine trees, so it's definitely cause for concern. If we want these baby pines to grow, we're going to have to do another harvest in here to get more sunlight to the forest floor. In a perverse way, because the beech leaf disease is attacking the beeches and it's killing the leaves, there's more sunlight reaching the forest floor. So it's bad for the beech, but it might be good for the white pine seedlings. Some forests can be left alone to the forces of nature, but many forests need our help.
Oh, there it goes.
Hemlock woolly adelgid is a non-native invasive pest. It's an insect. Unfortunately, our native eastern and Carolina hemlocks are very vulnerable to this pest. So what happens is that the adelgid will get onto these trees, they will suck all the nutrients out of the trees decline, and under very stressful conditions such as drought or other insect attack, we lose our hemlocks. There's been a lot of hemlock mortality from the mid-Atlantic, from the southern Appalachians, mid-Atlantic, and through Connecticut, even northward into Maine. See, over here, packed. It's all the way up there. Wow. I think we have to release here. So this little lady beetle is a specific, specialized predator of hemlock woolly adelgid in Japan. If we introduce it, it might give our trees a fighting chance. Yes.
To be a forester, you have to be an optimist. It's been said that when people plant trees under which they know they won't benefit from the shade, that's the most noble thing you can do. And so we're planting trees today because the best time to plant them was actually 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. The white pines that are so majestic, they have a lifespan, and there haven't been a lot of trees planted over the last 50 years. So we're going to start planting new ones for the next generation. Foresters think really long term, 100 years out. In an era of instant messaging and instant coffee and instant gratification, we know the results of our work may not be evident to us even during our lifetimes because it takes such a long time to see the results.
We're not doing it for us, we're doing it for future generations, 3 or 4 generations down the line.
The Barkhamsted Earth Day Nature Festival is really a tribute to this magnificent place where we live. It's a tribute to the forest, to the animals, to the river, to everything, and it is a mechanism to heighten the awareness of people to just how valuable all of these things are.
I have a question. Why does she have feeling better? So yeah, it is a big part.
It's critical that younger generations become involved with the forests and understand the forests.
If the young don't take an interest in the forest,
It's almost done.
once the older population cannot do the work anymore, then the forest won't have the caretakers that it needs for the next generation.
Mama fairy, the nest of fairy birds, the baby fairy, that's the papa fairy.
And this is, what's this?
His newspaper.
It's very important to have areas like this, especially in a densely populated state like Connecticut. We saw that during COVID, how important it was to have places for people to go and recreate and to reconnect with nature. We're not making any more people's forests. This is a unique piece of property that if it wasn't protected in 1924, I don't think it would exist right now.
I'm thankful for the foresight of the people that made People's Forest and American Legion and Tunxus and all the other state forests that are here, because without it, you know, Connecticut would be a much different place.
If you come back here in the next 100 years, this area is going to be so much more precious. As the area develops, and it will, it's going to become more and more important and significant.
In the 1920s, people had foresight. People had a vision. Austin Hawes had a vision. Agnes Bowen had a vision. The Connecticut Forestry Association had a vision of what this could look like in 100 years.
Has to be inspiration. You have to be inspired. My wish is that my granddaughter, her daughter, can come here and see the same things I'm seeing, and that's it. I don't wish for much. I want to look at details and walk slowly in the woods and be kind to other people and do things for the future. It was passed on to me. It's passed on to you.
It's like tossing a rock into a stream and you make the little ripples. The more that you expose people to nature and its value, then hopefully those little ripples will go throughout their lives and help them pass the word along.